What's up, everybody? It's Jared with Capture the Magic. And when it comes to theme parks, I do think that potentially we could see a shift of things into the future, as it's long been, kind of the status quo that many popular IPs many times will make their way into theme parks, but many times those IPs are not owned by, say, the big players in theme parks, Disney and Universal, but set up licensing deals to put those in the theme parks, more with Universal, obviously, than ever with Disney. And much like streaming, I do think you're going to start seeing some of these more popular IPs, instead of just licensing these things out to theme parks, they could start, doing their own attractions instead of just doing the old licensing model here. And we're kind of seeing that maybe the first of many iterations of this, with the Sega theme park entertainment project is in the works and is led by Sonic the Hedgehog here. So we have an article from that park place. I'm going to read through and get some thoughts on what this will look like. And I know a lot of people have been wanting Sonic to come into, say, Universal Studios, but it seems like that may not be happening. So Sega is reportedly creating theme park attractions with Sonic the Hedgehog at the fore. According to a report from Attractions Magazine, the project is being developed in partnership with Tokyo-based firm Katana Inc., and will span everything from standalone Sonic attractions to full-scale indoor theme parks across the US, Europe, Japan, and South America. While this news has fans buzzing, it's not the first time Sega has hinted at ambitions beyond the console. As far back as 2016, Attractions Magazine reported that Sega Sammy Holdings was exploring indoor theme parks as part of a broader expansion into non-gaming ventures. For those unfamiliar, Sega Sammy is the parent company formed in 2004 when video game publisher Sega merged with Sammy Corporation, a major player in Japan's pachinko and amusement hardware industries. The result was a sprawling entertainment conglomerate with interest in gaming, toys, and location-based attractions. At the time, Sega Sammy CEO Hajime Satomi,
I'm proud of you, you know that. I hope you do.
I may have got that completely wrong, stated that branching out into theme park attractions and other real-world experiences was a key part of the company's long-term strategy. He even hinted at Sonic's emerging media presence, including early film plans, was just the beginning. It says, then fast forward to 2025, that long-term strategy appears to be accelerating following the theatrical success of Sonic the Hedgehog 3. It seems that Sega is leaning into the franchise's mainstream popularity to push forward a more immersive level. Now, it wouldn't be Sega's first time doing any of this. It says Sega had their first foray into experimental entertainment, as Polygon pointed out, as Sega previously ran a series of indoor amusement parks under the Joypolis brand, which blended arcade gaming with motion simulators, VR, and theatrical experiences. Though those parks now operate under the CA Sega Joyopolis Limited Company, the legacy of interactive, tech-driven attractions clearly still informs Sega's thinking. What's new this time is the scale of the exclusive focus on Sonic. While past parks included a wide range of Sega properties, these new ventures appear to center entirely on the world of the Blue Blur and his extended cast members, including Tails, Knuckles, Amy, Shadow, Robotnik, which is also Eggman, and more. It says, from the early details shared by Attractions Magazine, it sounds like fans can expect obstacle course-style attractions inspired by Sonic's platforming gameplay, immersive zone-themed ride environments, and cutting-edge interactive features meant to mimic the franchise's signature speed and energy. And also, they talk about Sega's global ambitions are not subtle. As evident in the reports, the company sees these parks as a brand expansion strategy. The U.S. is the first priority, and undisclosed locations already under discussion, but other key regions like Europe, Japan, and South America are also in the pipeline. It's a strategic move at a time when global entertainment companies are increasingly blurring the lines between media and physical experience. Nintendo's collaboration with Universal Studios for Super Nintendo World proved that game franchises can translate into wildly successful park attractions, and Sega's new push suggests it's ready to chase the same success, albeit with a very different style. It's hard not to compare Sega's new ventures to what Nintendo has built, but the tone and pacing of Sonic offer a different experience. While Mario's world lends itself to whimsy and exploration, Sonic is about speed, adrenaline, and kinetic chaos. While Sega doesn't have the resources of Universal or Disney, it has something just as valuable: a mascot who's never quite played by the rules and thrives in spaces that rewards boldness. As of now, Sega hasn't confirmed opening dates or theme park locations, and no concept art or blueprints have been released, but given the caliber of the sources reporting this and the existing partnership with Katana, it's safe to say that this just isn't a blue sky idea, that something is coming. Whether the company starts small with touring attractions or dives into building anchor parks remains to be seen, but it's apparent that Sega wants back into the spotlight, and it's betting that a nostalgic-fueled high-speed Sonic theme park experience is the way to do it. If executed well, it could be one of the most distinct entries in the gaming to theme park pipeline yet. Now, like I said, you've seen this model. I think the streaming end of things kind of gives you a blueprint of how this could play out, because if streaming side got very popular under Netflix, where most studios just licensed out their movies or shows to Netflix. They would get paid for that, and then Netflix was able to, build their platform off of that. And then as the studios saw how big Netflix got, they all decided they wanted a bigger piece of the pie, so they started their own streaming services, Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, all the like. And now you've seen this more complicated sphere of streaming now, where everything's split off and you've got 20 different streamers and nobody knows where anything's at now. So I think that you could see the same thing in theme parks, as we are seeing video games are becoming much more mainstream with movies and shows and theme park attractions. And Sega is obviously a popular one. Obviously, the video game franchise was very popular back when I was a kid, and it still has relevance today, as you have the Sonic movies that have been very successful and really bringing in a new generation of fans to it. I mean, my kids are very much into Sonic now, so it's kind of funny that seeing it. It's not as big as Nintendo, but Sonic does have a lot of relevance with kids today, and also is nostalgic for people that played it growing up. So it is a powerful IP, and I think a lot of people would like to see it come to, say, Universal Studios and a bigger theme park and do, a big scale land or attractions based off of this. But Sega is not the first one to really do this either. And this was talked about. I did a video on this, I think last year, talking about this. But Mattel, obviously coming off the popularity of the Barbie movie, is actually doing their own theme parks called Adventure Park. And these theme parks are just off of the properties that Mattel owns. Obviously, one of the bigger ones being Barbie. They also have Hot Wheels roller coaster they're developing. So this concept of taking an IP that I think in the past you would see licensed out to, say, a Universal or maybe a Disney or some other theme park that would build an attraction here, and they would get, basically royalty money from it. You're seeing them decide to go the other route here. And I've often talked about, I do think in the future, you're going to see more competition on theme parks. Maybe it starts in the regional model, but at some point, people and companies that have deep pockets are going to look at the money that Disney and Universal are currently making from theme parks. And also, it shouldn't be, diminished that seeing how much market share Universal has eaten up from Disney the past decade, they ate about 10% of market share, is kind of showing that it's possible to break up some of the stranglehold that Disney has historically had on the theme park market. And there's money to be made here. And obviously Mattel feels the same way, as they're doing a Barbie beach house. They got Thomas and Friends, He-Man, which sounds awesome, Hot Wheels roller coaster. And there's going to be 2 parks, one in Glendale, Arizona, one in Kansas City. And some of the featured rides they have here are Barbie beach house, Bone Shaker. When you talk about Hot Wheels, then they have another Hot Wheels, racing ride there. So I don't know about the quality of the theme park it's going to be, but nonetheless, I think you're going to start seeing more companies perhaps go this route or try it before they just license out their IPs to a bigger theme park companies. So we could be in the midst of kind of a shift here of some of these bigger IPs, and instead of just doing a licensing deal that has been typically the norm, you could see them making their own offerings and creating their own theme parks. Now, obviously, theme parks are very expensive to build and run, so there's a lot more risk involved. But if you're able to pull it off, especially if you look at the Mattel one, that's much more of a regional theme park type of setting. There's still a lot of money to be made. There's very successful regional theme parks: Dollywood, Silver Dollar City, Cedar Point. Now, I know Cedar Point is, there's a lot of discussion there because now they bought Six Flags and things, but there is room for these regional theme parks to flourish. And I think that's also behind the concept of what Universal is doing with these Horror Unleashed houses, with the Netflix house they're doing, and Universal doing the kids park, of trying to, go to these regional areas to help build the brand up. And I think you could see the same model just done by other companies, Sega being one of them potentially, and taking this new model here of doing this. From what there sounds like, it doesn't sound like it's going to be, Epic Universe level or Disney level, but very well it could start small, build out from it. But I do have, if you're going to base the entire park off of Sonic, I'm not saying it can't be done. I just typically feel like a land based on Sonic would make a lot more sense than an entire theme park. But Sega does have other properties they potentially could bring in, but not only with this new method of bringing your own, IPs into your own theme parks, but obviously video games are becoming very popular in mainstream outlets, a lot more appetite for them. I think Super Nintendo World was the first one to really show that people do want these in a theme park setting if they're done very well. I'm very curious about this. I don't really know how I feel necessarily. I'd have to see more, concept art, what their actual plans are here, but obviously they're moving forward with this, and potentially it does sound like a really cool idea. Sonic is different from Mario. It's still a lot of fun. It has a lot of nostalgia there. And if those Sonic movies, I mean, they could make endless amounts of those Sonic movies, as they don't cost a lot of money to make. They're very popular with kids. They're enjoyable movies, so it hasn't gotten a lot more mainstream with Sonic. Probably a resurgence Sonic hasn't seen since the 90s, so they're looking to capitalize on that. But we'll have to wait and see more details on where this will come. Obviously, they said, U.S. and other countries as well, so it could be something that we see not only Sega do, obviously Mattel's doing it, but you could see other IPs make their own theme park, or at least entertainment offerings that start competing with some of the big players. I think that would be the question here of, would any of these regional theme parks at some point impact, say, Universal Studios and Disney World? I've often argued, given the economy right now, consumer spending is down a bit. A lot of people are still wanting to go do things. So regional theme parks have a lot of appeal for people because they're cheaper to go. They don't have to travel as far. And if it's out of the budget to go to Universal Studios or Disney World, you could see a lot of these regional theme park ideas and concepts get really popular, just considering that a lot of people would go to them because they're right in their backyard. So I think it has potential to be something very cool. That's obviously going to depend on what the ride concepts are, what this looks like, where they put it. But I think this will probably not be the last one we will see, as there's a lot of nostalgia in general that I think people like nowadays. And then I think video games have another layer of nostalgia. You could also see this with popular cartoons that were around in the 90s, make more of a comeback here. I would love personally to see something with Ninja Turtles actually do something really good. I haven't been really a big fan of what Nickelodeon has done with Ninja Turtles since they've had it, but that's another property that, at least for me, I would enjoy seeing something in a theme park with. And we have seen that from Disney. They used to be at Hollywood Studios. Funny enough, Ninja Turtles were. So it's very interesting. So I think we may be in the midst of a shift similar to what we've seen in the streaming side coming to the theme park side. And when they have more details about this, I will talk about it on here and let you know about it. But for now, that is going to be it, though, for this video. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel. As we do, let's coverage here of Universal Studios, Epic Universe, Disney World, and pop culture. And let us know in the comments, what do you think about a Sega theme park? And do you think that more companies will start doing their own theme park offerings instead of just licensing out their IPs to the big players? And until next time, we will see you in the parks.